Hi, welcome back. Today I want to show you some of the germplasm management features on ImageBreed. I'm running version 7.2. So if I go to search accessions, of course I can search for specific varieties. For example, test accession, I'll see the germplasm names or accession names. Accession and germplasm are synonymous in this system. So this is for the search interface. However, if I want to add new accessions or update properties of accessions, I go to Manage Accessions. Then I can click this button here to add or upload. There's two interfaces, so two interfaces for adding accessions. The first is using a simple list. So you can add a list of names. Or if you want to add accessions with metadata associated, you can upload a file. If I click here on the spreadsheet format, we see that the header can contain quite a few properties. The first two are required, so the accession name and the species name. So the species name must exist in the database already. And then you have all of these other columns for keeping track of metadata about that accession. I won't go into all of them, but the most important ones are the population name, which is useful for grouping different accessions under a population. The organization name is useful for tracking originating organization. And synonym is very important. Different localities might have different names for the same germplasm. So ImageBreed will treat all of those synonyms as being the same name for a given accession. And synonyms can be used interchangeably. For instance, if you're uploading a file, uploading a field trial, you can use synonyms in place of the accession name. So if I open this Excel file that I had, I've already filled it out. I have 4 accessions here of these names. I've filled in the species name. Now, if you're not sure about what the species name is, you can go to search or manage or search organisms. And so here, if I submit, I'll just see all of the species names in the database. These are pre-populated from NCBI. And so we just copy paste the appropriate name here. Now population, so I have new population 1. This doesn't exist in the database. It'll be created. However, if it did exist already, it'll just append these accessions into that population. I have an organization for this one. And then importantly here, synonyms. So I have 2, you can use commas to add many attributes at once. And so for instance, this underscore 90, maybe some people use underscore 090 or just 90 with no underscore. And so all of those names would be valid in the database. Here I'm just adding a single synonym to this one. PUI is intended to be a permanent unique identifier. If for instance, you have a URL to another database, you can include that here as a link to that. And accession numbers are kind of more established identifiers, usually linking from another database. So it's not important for functionality though. And we have a number of columns here, and I've just included state. So these columns are actually defined in the configuration file. It's just a list of attributes in the sgn.conf file, so you can add your own attributes easily through that configuration. So now if I go back here to manage sessions, go to upload the file. So I select the file I just opened. We see that the first panel tells us about accessions that are already in the database. So test accession 1 was already in the database. Then the next panel here is about fuzzy matches. So these are for names that look highly similar to accessions that are already in the system. Accession names or their synonyms. So as you can see, this test accession _90 is highly similar to these other names in the database. If say, for instance, this was a typo, say it should have just been this name instead of this one. I can choose here to add this name as a synonym to the name that already exists. So that's the recommended approach if this was indeed if this is a valid synonym for this. Or you could choose to ignore this name so that it'll just kind of skip over it. That's useful in certain cases. And then another option here is to replace the name. So again, it'll just kind of skip this name and stick with the name in the database. However, if this is indeed new, then we can say to continue saving that name into the database. Then here, this screen summarizes the accessions that will be added and accessions that will be updated. So test accession 1 already existed in the database. However, I'm adding this synonym attribute. I could add or edit any of the properties for this accession through this upload. And so those properties would show up here, and the properties that are being saved for these new accessions are also listed. So then if I click add accessions, we see that they were added. If I can go to one of the detail pages here, and I can see the under the additional info, I can see the properties that were associated. State, session, organization, those were all listed here. Now, of course, from the detail page, you can always add these properties one by one. You can add synonyms one by one. You can add any of those column properties one by one here. So I'll just show that test adding. Okay, so it was successfully stored. If I open this again, it shows up. You can remove them manually here, clicking the X. Now, if I go back to searching, the search accessions page, we can see the synonyms is a column by default here. However, you can add columns. So say I add this variety column. We see that column there. I can add state. So we'll see that column here. If I go into the advanced search and I open properties, I can search here by those attributes. So say I want to search state and contains, so this drop down shows you the available options in the database. So I can search that. It'll only return the relevant accessions that meet the criteria. You can search by several properties at once with a variety of options here. One feature here that is not used very much is I'll just I'll just go back to search accessions here. Here at the bottom, the graphical filtering. So we can open this. Might take a moment to load. So for the sessions that are in this table, after filtering is applied from the searching here, you can view the phenotypes for those accessions here. So this table just lists all of the phenotypes in the database. And using the graphical filtering, we can look at these phenotypes in a graphical way, and we can apply filters to narrow down our accessions. So these filtering steps can be chained. So for instance, the accessions that meet this phenotype criteria plus this phenotype criteria are these. And so it allows you to filter down. Of course, like normally you would filter by something like grain yield or biomass, and then potentially filter by grain moisture or dry matter traits. So this is just an example. So thank you for watching and stay tuned for more updates.